There we go. To the doll messages. Hello, Pop Pop. Yeah. What? What? Hello. Hey, pop, pop, pop. How was that going again? It was cut. Something like that. Yeah, a bit of that, I think. Hello. It is like 7 over here. 7 something. Ah, whiffed it. Hello. Cool. That's a fun one. That's one if you can't do it in any tournament because it shows your back. But if you can pull it off, it'd be very cool. It's the I've seen this. It's I'm this is every so often I see one that I'm a little skeptical of, but it's you're presented that way and you turn and you thrust like that. It's interesting. It feels like it does a lot of things you're not supposed to do all at once. Maybe that's why it kind of works, is that you just do a weird thing. You're just weird with it, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why it works. Who knows? What, are you done with the sticks? You got bored of the stick? Yeah, you got bored of the stick. Do whatever fencing you want to do. Whatever interests you, I would recommend. Now, if you want to get into sport fencing, do that. If you want to do HEMA, do that. If you want to do LARP, sure, whatever. Do whatever you want. That's a fun one. Little break over into a thrust. You'd have to be careful to get that angle right, though. I kind of like it. I like long swords. Hello. Any specific binds or parries for left-handed? Uh, when it comes to righty versus lefty, generally speaking, your best bet is to push their sword arm, the outside of their sword arm. So if I'm fighting a lefty as a righty, the game is a lot about trying to get to here. I can get here on their outside. That's pretty good for me because it opens up their sword hand, because it's sword fighting, so the sword hand has to be involved in some capacity. So in a righty versus lefty, you can often get more opportunities to strike at their sword arm than otherwise, because it's generally just your ability to sort of like parry your outside is generally speaking weaker than your ability to parry your inside. Because parrying on your inside, that's your good cutting angle. Right? This is a good place for us. We like this body dynamic right here. We love that. We like this less. Cutting to our outside with our sword hand doesn't feel as good. This is your good cut. This is your less good cut. And if you are righty versus lefty, it's basically a game of your, like, normally when you fight righty versus righty, the game that happens is that their strong side cut and your strong side cut, you basically have, because you're a mirror match, you just kind of neutral out in that place. So it becomes a lot of like playing that strength and then trying to find some way to sneak in and work that. But with the hands being mismatched, you have essentially this capacity for one of you to work to their outside with your strong cut, which you wouldn't normally have access to. Tree, I need to cut that tree down. That limb is getting a little long. But yeah, you can sit here and you can work this outside angle, and they're trying to work that angle on you too. So it's this back and forth game of you both trying to basically get the other person to commit their sword arm out, so that you can then come behind them and hit them. So it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, tiger hook swords are cool, but I don't know like anything about actually using them. I mean, I know conceptually how to use them, but like I've never used them myself, and I would look like a ding dong doing so. What got me into this thing? I've just had pretty much a lifelong fascination with like knights. So being fascinated with knights and then getting into swordplay is kind of a obvious connection. The hanging stick drill, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory, but I can sort of try to explain. Basically, the idea with the hanging stick drill, right, is that the more oomph you put into it, the more it gives you back. So you have that stick just kind of hanging there, and as you hit it, the harder you hit that stick, the more it's going to swing out, and that other side's going to come back in against you. So it's this. I like it in that it will scale with you. So if you just want to just kind of like casually just kind of go like bop, 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 you can do that. But if you want to like risk a concussion, you can like get it spinning and then really test your ability to parry that, because it's going to be flying in at weird angles. Krumpao, yeah, I can do the Krumpao. Hi, Doug. I can do it with a one-handed sword too. So the Krumpao is the crooked cut. Hi, Dougie. Oh, you're going to sit there? I see it. Doug's going to sit there. I think we're fine, though. I'll just do it from up here. Essentially, the Krumpao is the crooked cut because it cuts, all the other cuts come in, you know, whichever way, right? Krumpao comes in this way. So you can throw the Krumpao often to the hands. So if somebody's hanging out, you can crump them in the hand. That's a good one. But also you can use it to break. So if someone's wherever, right, I can crump over their blade, break that down, come through, do something else. I've got my longsword over here. I can get that. Because with the longsword, you have that second hand to really start flinging it around. I would like a little bit more room, though, if you would be so kind as to go over there. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay, so I really do need to cut that limb down. Yeah, that's going to get in my way. Let's shift this whole thing over here, because that limb is causing me problems. I'm just going to bring everything over. Okay. Everything's now over here. I'm going to take the mask off for now, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So thinking about the crump. So it's that crooked cut that way. If we're using it as a beat, we're coming over and we're breaking that sword down, and then we're coming through. If you want to be spicy with it, you can make it all into one tempo of sweeping through with the beat into the hit. Because that kind of saves you. One of the issues you run into when you're doing beats is, of course, you're attacking their sword and not them. So if they're savvy and they see and they realize what you're doing, as you come in to cut their sword, they do this. And now you're in trouble. So part of the reason why you would just kind of flow with it is to kind of deny them the opportunity, the initiative to do that. Because if you come in, if they know like your beats are always followed immediately by an attack to them, it kind of hurts their ability to do that Dirk Vexel, the changing under, right? So as I come in to do that, if they change under, I'm already coming out again. And, you know, they can still potentially, like, they can still take that initiative back from you, but immediately flowing into that next action does help cover you some. You know, you might be able to force them to, like, Dirk Vexel, disengage, and then immediately parry again. That's the best case. If they duck your beat, the best thing that you could hope for after that point is that they feel the need to react to the next thing and parry it instead of just stabbing you. But by keeping that pressure on, you can kind of get away with it a bit better than just trying to do the beat. The dog is having fun with the mask on the ground. Somebody sent me a super duper whatever. Let's see. Oh, welcome, Exile. Welcome to the club. Oh, thank you, Tyler. You came for the dog. The dog is over there now. Warslog doesn't really work so great with fetters because they're very floppy. It's kind of hard to actually have any control over it. New YouTuber, cutting that branch with a medieval weapon. Yeah, maybe. Use my bill hook on the tree branch. Hello. I don't have anything to cut with at the moment. Oh, actually, I do have something I can cut. I do actually have something I can cut with. This just came in. I got this in. This Navaja. This one's actually, I was actually using this to cut back some of the foliage a little bit. It's a big chopper right there. I don't know if any of this I could cut. But yeah, I had some trees growing over there. I just chop. That was that. I don't really have a favorite sword brand. Yeah, this is like making a Bowie knife into a pocket knife, right? This is, as far as I'm aware, this is not legal to carry in NC publicly in your pocket. On your own property, that's different. I can carry it on my own property, so. But I think you can carry this openly somehow. I guess you'd get like a little something or other and like wear it. I like long swords. What can I say? A pocket, yeah, pocket blade. Sleeve. Oh yeah, I guess yeah, you could probably like get in a sleeve or something. Ooh, a Damien Saber cross is right-handed. That's a fun one. Go flip. Eh. Is there a practical difference to how you would use a side sword compared to a rapier? That depends on the sword. So the answer is no and yes. It depends. Because depending on who you ask, that side sword might be a rapier. A rapier is, or side sword is a modern definition for swords that we don't really know what otherwise to do with, categorically speaking. So some rapiers were side swords, and vice versa. Meyer calls this a rapier, but we would call it a side sword now. That's just how this goes. There's not really a fun answer here. That's just kind of the way of things. So ultimately, it depends. What you're probably looking for, though, is something that ultimately depends on the characteristics of the blade in question. So side sword versus rapier terminology is of no use to us here. It does not help. But if you would like to think, side sword stuff will be cut and thrust. Rapier will be thrust and cut. It will be capital T thrust, lowercase c cut for rapier, whereas you're going to get a lot more cut and thrust in closer to equal measure with the side sword. So in the scope of like your binding and stuff, that's all going to be very familiar. Your like full-blown quintessential rapier stuff is going to be a different vibe. It will be. But there's a fundamental exchange, right? You know, weak on weak binds, weak on strong binds, strong on weak binds. These are, you know, universal constants. But how you kind of approach the fight method, as far as your method goes, will be a little different. With these shorter, cuttier swords, you're obviously going to be able to work your way in with that. You're going to see more like cutting beats to get in. You'll see more blade off posture. Like you'll pretty much never see this with your like quintessential rapier types. Like this is way too open for your like super duper rapier, whatever. Rapier usually boils down to being in some sort of point forward position almost all the time, and then sometimes there's like a cut one, like sometimes. With side swords and cuttier rapiers, you've got, obviously you have all of that again. You also have, you know, guards out to the sides, and you definitely have cut ones and so forth. So you're going to see a lot more of engagements that entail kind of beating into the fight and kind of working through there. Hey, I keep meaning to try out half sword. I haven't remembered to yet. Rapier versus saber versus longsword. That's a whole thing. Yeah, you can think of the side sword as a later period arming sword with a more developed. Like, yeah, that's probably the safest generalization you could make about them. Of course, there are still exceptions, but have you ever tried a basket hilt mortuary sword? No, I have not actually. I would like to. And when fencing, how often do opponents hit each other at the same time? More than we want to. More than we want to. Ideally, never. But so there are two. So hitting each other at the exact same time is basically about as embarrassing as it can get, because it means that you both completely misread the situation. Getting hit, basically getting that hit and not being able to cover yourself from the afterblow is like less shameful. But we use the terms open and closed doubles. So open doubles is we both just sort of neglect, like they thrust at me, I thrust at them, we both die. That's an open double. That is shame on you. Great shame upon you if you've done that. The other one is I get stabbed and I go, hey, maybe that'll just cut the tree down. But the other one is I get stabbed and I go and I whack him on the head. That's a closed double. That is, again, not something that you want to have happen, but there are times where it just, like you're not actually debilitating people with training swords, right? So like there will be times where you'll maybe throw a cut and it was a beautiful, tremendous cut and you came up under their arm, and then because it's not actually a real sword, you just kind of went thunk and you stopped there, and then they go bonk, right? Like you didn't have, or like it goes thunk and they like close their arm on or whatever, and then they thunk you. Like there are times where that kind of stuff is just it happens. You don't want to, you try to avoid it. You try to make an approach that will protect you. But this isn't this isn't strictly an artifact of modern work. Like this is something that they were concerned about historically. Like that's just, it happens, right? Meyer's got this whole section where he talks about how a beautiful play, a beautiful approach, a beautiful execution, all of this, like you did everything perfectly, but you failed on the withdrawal, and so it all goes out the window because you got hit. So it's, and I think he mentions that it's common to see that happen. That's one of the things he tries to like encourage you to safeguard against, is to pick your engagements very carefully and always have like don't just chase the hit. If you chase the hit, like he gives us a framework of different kinds of fencers. One fencer will just see the person and immediately try to hit them with no regard to safety. The next one will bide their time and will sit there and kind of like wait and work. And the moment they know they have the hit, they'll take it. The next kind of fencer will sit there and bide their time, knowing they have the hit, but will not take it unless they know they can recover and escape. And then the fourth kind of fencer just waits. They just wait. They are pure counterattacking. It's your Sorisu Jedi form. You just sit there and you wait and you wait, and then you try to do something. And he says the people who do that are either very stupid or very skilled, because it takes either a lot of stupidity to let someone else act first, or a great skill to be able to confidently counter whatever they throw out. You need a recommendation for two-handed weapon? I mean, there's a bunch of two-handed weapons. The dog is named Moose, I think. Wait, no, that was the other dog. No, wait, no, this is, we foster. This isn't my dog. I'm not forgetting my own dog's name. We just got this one. Are you Moose, or was that the other one? Well, let me see. Where's your name tag? You are... Hello. No, I need to see your name tag. Nope. No, that is not a name tag. That is reward if found. See? That's how you know they're fosters. She doesn't have a name tag. She just has reward if found. She'll get it. Her forever family will name her. Yeah, reward if found. That's her name now. Reward if found. Stick versus... Oh boy, that's a loaded one. Stick versus rapier, who wins? Silver would say stick. Swiss. I know that the Swiss pikemen had a higher chance of carrying longswords. I'm not entirely. I haven't done a whole lot of digging on the Swiss. I know. I mean, definitely not Catsboggers. That's for sure. But I believe the Swiss were more inclined towards your more like just cruciform hilted sword, be it a one-handed sword or a two-handed sword. I've certainly seen depictions of Swiss with long swords sheathed at the hip. Hello. 2 rapier versus big stick. Oh, that makes it more interesting. How big's the stick? Saber versus stick. Oh, that's also a fun one. Again, so stick, you can never count stick out. Do I have a stick? I have a stick out here somewhere, I think. Yes, I do have a stick. Stick. Which side has splinters? That's the question. So, one of the things about the old blob versus stick is the fact that a good sized stick can hit from all the way back here. Swords over here, sticks over here. And I still have like a good 2 feet of reach over that. So yeah, that's the challenge you have to deal with against stick, is that the stick will just sort of outrange you, potentially. Although there are smaller sticks. They're smaller. It's still possible. If you have like a sword-sized stick, you're in for a bad-ish time. It's still doable, but... What is jumping over there? I think there's a frog. It is a frog. I love having frogs in the yard. It makes me happy. I have lost my light, though. So I'm probably going to wrap things up here soon. I mean, I guess I could go inside for a bit. We could bring it inside. How about that? Or I can at least move us to the... And move this show to the deck at least. Get a little more light. Up we go. Yes, I know, doggy. We're going. We're going, doggy. Where are we going, doggy? Going up the stairs. Okay, we're up on the deck now. I can potentially have a bit more light. Let me see what I can do. One thing at a time. Yep. There it is. Boom. Light. We have light. Ugh. Okay. The frog. No, I was not going to harass the frog. I don't know where to put this for best lighting. Ooh, that kind of works. Oop. Yeah, sword stuff. The bill hook, yeah, that's inside. Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I might as well just go inside, right? I'm gonna have room to swing things around, but I got more room than out here, or more stuff than out here. Yeah, we'll just go over here. This is fine. Okay. Just excuse me. There we go. Okay, we're in. There. We've made it. Oh, okay. The bill hook, there it is. There's the bill hook. One bill hook. Ends with the greatsword. That's no, not right now. Yeah. The whole suit. I got chewed up, covered in bug bites. What would make a spear with a shielded middle impractical? The shield part. You have to bear in mind that you need to be able to move your hands on the weapon. If you have a big shield in the middle of your spear, it's just heavy, and like you basically have a choice between like using the shield and the spear. So if your point's on, then your shield is off, right? I got a buckler and a stick. All right, so I've got it. All right, so like if I've got a shield in the middle of my spear, and I present the spear. Now the buckler's there. I guess if there's some value to maybe like that, I guess. But as soon as if I like, in order to get benefit of the shield out of the shield, I would really need to have my hand behind it, right? And so if I have, can I get this through? Oh, look at that! There we go. Yeah. So if for whatever reason I have to have a grip with the shield not actually covering any hand, like what's it doing for me at this point, right? And I have to deal with the fact that the shield's now in the way. The shield is making my spear heavier, so it's going to be harder for me to move my spear and do spear stuff with it. So there is the dueling shield, but that's a weird edge case. There are some like using a spear in the hand of a this is fine. This is doable. Like I can use the, if I have it's like a Zulu situation. If I have a shield and I am holding a short spear in that shield hand, I can there. Yeah. So like this sort of situation has merit, right? You've got some sort of fighting weapon in your right hand. You've got your shield. You've got a extra spear and or whatever. So you sit there and use the shield as a shield. You can use the spear as a parrying stick. You can still get stabs in with it. But also, if you, for whatever reason, lose that main weapon, then you grab your extra spear, and now you're back to fighting spear and shield in more conventional. Like this, being able to fight with these two things separately is better than being able to fight with it as one thing. If that, like, I'd much rather be able to use both of these independently than have them wedded. So I think that's essentially the root of the problem here is attaching a spear, like attaching a shield to a spear with the idea of now I can use spear, shield, and use them both in two hands is, I think, intrinsically the problem, when you could just, like, they will work better, or the shield will work better if it is in its own hand, and you are, because you can still use the shield to support the spear, right? Like you can lay the, not so much with the buckler, but you can still make it work. You can lay the spear on the shield and use it as a hand rest. So you can still get the benefit of a shield and being able to still get the support of your second hand on your shield. So this is just a more adaptable and useful way to use the two items than trying to glue them together. Is there a counter to an enemy with a sword and knife if you only have a sword? I mean, you fight. It's the. I mean, depending on. So, assuming the swords are about the same length, I mean, you can push that angle. You have to basically be very careful to not get caught by their dagger. If you can keep the fight at sword length and be very careful to avoid their dagger, if you can keep, I would keep pushing their sword side. Where did I have this hooked? It was over here. So if they are fighting sword and dagger, I have sword and dagger. If you have one sword and you're fighting against somebody who's fighting sword and dagger, basically the worst case scenario is that they get your sword with their dagger, because that means that they can now hit you with their sword. So to avoid that, you can keep trying to work towards their sword arm, just to try to keep that dagger from having access to their sword. Of course, they're going to be trying to, keep on you. So it's going to be this sort of ring around the rosy a little bit as you keep trying to push that sword side and they keep trying to track so that they can make use of their dagger and punish you with that. But yeah, it's an uphill battle because you have to work to mitigate what they can do with their dagger. Alternatively, though, if they are too cocky about it and they start really sticking that dagger out there, and they've got not a sail dagger, but if they have a dagger like this and they start really holding that dagger out, go take it, right? Just pop them. Like if they're giving you their arm, take the arm. I learned swordsmanship from the Triangle Sword Guild, the fencing club I'm a part of. I don't have any scythes. No. I've never even used the scythe move. Oh, well, wait, the two-handed, right. In Elden Ring, I actually like the move set of the scythe in Elden Ring. I think it's a enjoyable move set for a cutting pole arm, but the scythes don't super work great as weapons in that shape. Billhooks work great, but that's not, when we're talking about usually talking about like putting a farming scythe on a pole, a straight pole, and it's just that huge blade. That doesn't work very well. Typically, when they would repurpose those for war, they would take it off, flip it, mount it point up, and turn it into a glaive. Oh, you gotta get me with a scythe blade. That sounds fun. I do not sell the coats. I just buy the coats. I could do a sparring. Oh, I guess I just have to choose Meyer. I have his book, right? Like, of all the fencing masters, Meyer is the only one that I actually have or at least a facsimile of his book. So yeah, I'd have to pick Meyer for my sparring day. Yeah, I wouldn't know what he's saying. I guess we'd have to assume that I could understand him. Well, maybe we'd be able to communicate with the universal language of whacking each other with sticks. I love this book. It's a good book. How are we doing on time? I bought the coat on eBay. A shield with a spike on it. Depends on what the spike is. I always stand by the belief that if something was useful, you'd see more of it. So putting a spike on a shield is useful enough that it happened, but probably not useful enough that it was, or not useful enough to be universal. That's generally the sort of framework that I approach. If it worked, people would use it. I get my swords from all sorts of places. It's hard to kind of narrow it down. As a general thing, I tend to buy my training swords from Purple Heart Armory and my sharp swords from Cult of Athena. But that is far from a universal rule. I have not tried mounted combat. I haven't ridden a horse in years. I play Helldivers. I actually have. I'm working on something. I'll give you a guess. Here you go. What could that? I'll give you one guess as to what this is. This isn't all of it, of course, but yeah, I give you one guess. I guess I could try to piece some of it together. Yeah, this is topical, right? We were talking about scythes and sickles. My thoughts on the usage of moulinets with longswords. I guess it depends on the how you're defining moulinet. Now I'm just building the thing. I've got all the pieces. I have to do some more work on the print lines. But let's see. I'm trying to think of how I would approach that as a subject. Moulinets, are you trying to, I guess, for more context, are you trying to use the moulinets as a gameplay mechanic? What are you trying to get out of what is singling out the use of moulinets? What do you hope to achieve by doing that? I guess is my question, because that would help guide me further. I'll just do a little bit of this as I sit here trying to piece it together, avoiding responsibilities. This part's going to be a tricky bit. Come on. There you go. Oh, that piece isn't lined up. Line you up. Come on. Close enough. Close enough to at least show it off. Yeah, there's more pieces, but there you go. I have to keep it held together, or else it will all fall apart. Boom. Yeah. I love shields in sci-fi settings. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. I don't super care about energy shields in sci-fi. They don't interest me. I love physical shields in sci-fi, like Gundam. I love the shields in Gundam. I love them so. Just anything that combines a shooty thing with a shield, I'm here for. So yeah, I like the ballistic shield in Helldivers. So just putting that out there. It is the sickle, or at least most of a sickle from Helldivers. I'm working on a Helldivers suit for. I guess this is kind of the announcement. I haven't actually mentioned it yet on channel, but yeah, I'm working on a Helldiver cosplay for Dragon Con, which I don't have. I have a week and a half to finish it. So yeah. Is the sword of Highlanders, the size of Highlander's sword from For Honor realistic? Not really. The vertical length, the length of it isn't terrible. That is, last I checked, that is within, it's on the extreme upper end, but it is within the realm of possibility. The issue with it is that all of his swords are ridiculously thick. The edges are completely, I mean, you couldn't cut any, they're just wedges. They too big. I am convinced that there is something about mustaches and swords. It's a hard time. You will have a hard time finding HEMA people that don't have some sort of facial hair. Yeah, beards, lots of beards, tons of beards. Yes, it is the sickle. Yeah. See, it'd be good for the channel if this was called like the saber. I need this to be called the saber, and then I could have it on channel and talk about that. How practical is a hatchet for combat? Practical enough. A wood cutting hatchet is going to be a bit cumbersome. Fighting axes are thinner. Here, I have one. Since I know you've been asking about hatchets, but yeah, I actually have an axe here. So your fighting profile for an axe. This one's not super duper thin. This one has some. This one's kind of like an in between. It's definitely not a wood splitting axe by any means, but this is a fairly reasonably balanced axe between. You could use this for utility purposes, but also you can fight with this and it's decently light. That's basically the main hurdle to trying to do a hatchet, is if it's a splitting hatchet or any sort of like heavy duty tool, it's going to be too slow. Like if you hit somebody with it, it'll still do damage, but you're going to be running into issues trying to use it as a weapon. How practical? Same thing with the helmet. Your helmet's going to be better served on your head. If you are somehow completely disarmed, okay, helmet, then I guess. If you have nothing left but your helmet, then it's better than nothing. Because you could, honestly, yeah, as I think about that, if in our hypothetical situation, we have been reduced to nothing but a helmet. We have no dagger, we have no knife, no dagger, no nothing. If I am forced to use my helmet, then, like, if I can get a good grip on it, that is, I'd probably, that's the other problem, is that you have to actually be able to hold the thing. There, okay, this works. Here. Yeah, so if I have nothing left, well, I've got an edge, right? I've got weight, I have an edge, and now I have a shield. So worst case scenario, I've been completely disarmed, but I have a helmet. That's an option, right? I can try to block with that. I can try to punch with it. I can hit. I could even like grab it by the helmet strap and whip it, potentially. So yeah, I mean, it's in a pinch. Wouldn't be my first choice by any means, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, buckler, but fancier and less functional. Agreed. You think? But see, because like if they have a weapon still and you're down to bare hands, I'd want something that I could interpose. That's the main appeal to me about trying to use that as the weapon there, or in your hands, as opposed to still wearing it, is mostly the fact that I can interpose it into hits to try to parry. And then if I can, get the parry, then I can get in. And you need to get close enough to get your hands on them in the first place. So if body, like just shielding with the helmet, gets you in, that you can then go for disarms or throws or whatever, then all the better. As I mentioned, as someone asked the scythe question earlier, as I mentioned, using a scythe mounted, doing like that kind of scythe situation is not great. And when they would take scythe blades and repurpose them for war, they would take the scythe blade off, mount it like this, and now you have a glaive. Oh, yeah, Hey, look, I got this thing. I can actually talk. I can use this. There. Scythe. Look, this thing's cool. It ratchets. There we go. Yeah, so scythe blade, not ideal on a big stick. Not great because it is specifically when you're talking about like a pole arm sized scythe that you start to run into these problems of the fact that your point is so, they're meant for threshing, right? And by having your point so far away, you now have a really weird weapon to use. This is fun. I need to talk about this mechanism sometime. This is an interesting, it's a very peculiar locking mechanism that doesn't really turn up. I think mostly because it's just kind of obnoxious. But it works. It's pretty solid. I don't fight with my glasses on. I fight glassesless. Ugh. What would a knight do for work if he's been too injured to fight anyways? Well, if he's a knight, he probably has land. So he would manage his estate. If he can no longer fight, he still has an estate to run. Hello. What's that run? Oh. Chew. Oh. No, I forgot that part. She's such a well-behaved puppy. I didn't really like. It's like she locks herself. Seriously, this puppy locks herself up. Have you shown her off? Yeah, I've shown her a bit. But yeah, the puppy will just put herself in her kennel. Oh dear. Oh, chat started moving fast. Do I do any sort of traditional weightlifting or resistance training preparation for fights? I should. What about a scythe? But the blade it's not a matter of where the blade is, the edge is on the scythe. Like blade here, blade there doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you have a really long blade completely perpendicular. That's the problem. But the moment you do that, you're fine. They want to see the puppy.
He's so pretty.
That's my favorite sword. Oh, I do puppy. Favorite kind of sword is a long sword. How would I recommend getting into HEMA as someone with a very little experience? Use the HEMA Alliance Club Finder, find a club near you, see if they have beginner classes.
Hello. Hola, Van Rob.
Nice. Buy armor for the dog. And wait.
Wait, get the hat.
I think it'll fit you. Whoop. I think it'll actually fit. Yeah, let's try.
Looking.
He does it. I don't think the neck strap's gonna work. We're gonna we'll put that back there. Yes.
Oh, Aspen. What are you doing?
Armor to that dog.
I don't want to move your chat too much.
Oh, well, also, I don't know if they can hear you because I have the mic. I have the mic.
You so baby. Okay, baby's going on the ground.
Okie dokie.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's probably about the end. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna wrap up the stream at an hour anyway, so that actually works. I've lost. Chat has lost it. That's it. Puppy armor. That's where we're at. Those are birds, yes. I have done some. I've done like a African. What was it? Oh, like I was talking about earlier with the shield and the spear and stuff. I don't quite remember what it was at the time. But yeah, it was an African spear fighting workshop. I did that once. That was fun. What cat? No, I don't think you saw a cat. I mean, I have cats, but I don't think you saw one. I can try to steal a cat. A pet, yeah. They want a pet tour. I can get a yoink.
Skippy's never on HEMA.
And there we go.
Oh, both on camera.
Yeah,
this
this
has
is-
never happened.
Let's see how long he. Oh, there he goes. He's done. He's done. He
Look at
quits.
Skippy being the good one.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was eating dinner, so he's probably a little cranky about that. Yep. There he goes. He's right back to dinner.
Skippy's like, what is this? What are we doing?
Samurai cat. I don't think Skippy will.
I don't know. Maybe.
We'll try We'll try Samurai cat. I was working on Cyrus with the helmet. But maybe if I can just gently. Oh, she sees it. That's the problem. She's aware of it now.
Okay, let's see how this works.
She's aware of it. She doesn't like it. I think she likes how shiny it is.
Hold on, she's in my shirt.
It glints on her eyes.
You could get it on there.
Nope.
Oh, no.
That's a no. That is a no. I told you she wasn't gonna like that.
I know. Still had to try that.
Are you gonna try? Are you stealing Cyrus next?
You want to steal Cyrus?
I don't know. He's still hungry. Oh no, he is.
Baby.
I've actually been working on Cyrus.
Okay, I know. I'm not holding you like I always do. I'm sorry.
I've been slowly training him to get used to the helmet. Yeah, see, he doesn't mind it as much.
Because he matched it so perfectly.
Oh, he's not happy with you though. That's the problem.
I don't really like have him in a really good way.
He doesn't like you. Yeah, he doesn't like this situation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want that.
Okay, Cyrus. Hold
I think he just wants dinner. Yeah, then he goes right back to dinner. He is very upset about dinner. He's doing the thing where, oh yeah, he's doing that thing where he has food, but he's like convinced he doesn't have.
I don't know if that's a one-eye thing or.
He's convinced he doesn't have food. We still have one more. We still have another dog. We haven't. You let her out. That's where she ended up. Rosie, where's my baby? You're not Rosie. I do have another doggy, yes. I don't know what the other, I have a, hey, come here. Come here, yes. Oh, now there's the other dog. Okay. One last animal for the live. There we go. Okay. All right. One last animal for the live stream. Oh, my baby. My baby, my puppy. This is Rosie. Yeah. It's my doggy. Yes. What? What's Mama doing? Oh. There you go, doggy. All right. There we go. That's all the dogs. That's all the cats. That's where we're at. Hold on over here. Yeah, there we go. This thing is really shiny. Look at this. Can I get it like straight into the camera? He is a distinguished gentleman, yeah. It suits him. I could do it with the... I guess I could bend the sword, but that doesn't feel great to do. Oh yeah, it is. Pretty much is an air polish. Look at that. You can see my plants. Look at that. And then there's the... I can maybe get the swords. Oh yeah. There's the halberd. And what else can we get? We can get... Oh, there's the swords. Fabulous. Anyways, that's an hour on live. So let's see, what else? Some final thoughts. I'm excited for this. Final thoughts. I'm excited for this. Oh, okay. Yes, people did use basket hilts as brass knuckles. Absolutely. Yeah, you can clobber people with those things. Do I have any plans to further expand my antique sword collecting? At some point, I'd like to get one. I'd really like to get an antique halberd or billhook or something. I want to get a antique polearm head and then put the polearm head in a shadow box. I think that'd be cool. My favorite Souls boss. Ooh. I'm gonna split it up two ways. I'm gonna pick my favorite Souls boss because I think they're cool, which would be Sir Alon, and my favorite Soul boss to fight, which would be Gale. Gale would be my favorite fight. Maybe. Yeah, let's go with Gale. Would the red strap on the breastplate get easily cut? Not really. But also, why? Why bother? Why would you? What's the... It's just a belt. It's not holding the armor together or anything. It's just... There's no real reason to cut it. I mean, I guess if you like really wanted to make them drop their dagger, I guess. But opportunity cost, right? If you're cutting for the belt, you're not hurt. They're not scared of you, right? Like, why waste the effort trying to do something that won't help you really? Yeah, I would. So yeah, I was actually thinking, like, when I was saying Slave Knight Gale and I paused, I was thinking of Sekiro. But yes, the Sword State Ishin is really good. That's a really good boss fight. So it's between Gale and Ishin, one or the other. Also, Genshiro? Was it Genshiro? What's his name? The other guy. The like your main antagonist for most of it, whatever. With the bow. Yeah, Genichiro. Yeah. Yeah, he's in the running too. What kind of sword am I wanting to get next? I'm getting sucked back into it. I need to stop this. And let me wrap it up there. Sword I want to get next is going to be a basket-hilted longsword. That combines, I was able to circle this back to a few different things. Basket-hilted longsword. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to wrap things up. The last comment for the day is stay tuned tomorrow. Did you guys like the ballistic head stuff? Yeah, y'all like this stuff? If you like this, stay tuned because there's more of it tomorrow. Woohoo! Plus this sword right here, plus skull. That's what you have to look forward to tomorrow. That goes live. Enjoy. Yeah, that's your teaser for the night. Have a good night, everybody.